Have we received any public comments? Have any been submitted?
No, we have not.
Okay. Without a quorum, we can't approve the meetings of February 27th, so we will defer those to April. We'll jump right along to Office of Small Business Opportunities. Is that you, Miss Wade?
It is. Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Erica Wade. I'm the manager for the Office of Small Business Opportunity. And we'll go ahead and get right into the report. So as noted in the report today, we have 116 SLBEs that have been certified to date. And it also gives you the breakdown by male and female, of course, and it gives you also your breakdown by SLBE industry with your architecture, construction, non-professional, professional, and wholesale services. As of to date, we have, and that's not in the report, but as of today, we have over $86 million that have been awarded to our SLBEs in transportation projects. Two of the projects that we want to highlight because we had the ribbon cutting ceremony a few months ago, at least a month or two ago, and that was your Bull Street and Elmwood project. And the goal on that particular project was 18%. And then we had the Green Street Improvement Project. That particular goal on that one was 8.1%. We just want to make one change on our Business Academy with our classes. So we're going to have to reschedule the class that was scheduled for March 22nd, which is the Power of Strategic Partnership. We're going to reschedule that particular class to a later date. We're looking at maybe in April or May for that particular class. But I will be on a panel discussion that will be held on October 29th in honor of Women's History Month. The title is Women in Government Contracting Certification. So we'll be talking about why is it necessary to become certified. Also, last month, we had two ribbon cutting ceremonies. One was Bub and Mothers, and that was in District 3. And another one was the Substation 2, which was opened in Sand Hill, and that was in, was a minority-owned franchised company. And just another update that we want to give that we are in the process of having our disparity study done here at Richland County. I think that's it for our report, just give an overall synopsis of what we have going on since our meeting last month. Are there any questions?
Crickets. All right, thank you very much, Miss Erica.
Okay.
We'll move right along to the comment program and Miss Rosalind Andrews. Miss Rosalind? If you're speaking, we can't hear you. We see your picture.
All right, she is coming 1 sec. We're just working on some technical difficulties.
Okay.
I'm here. I had to run over to, let me mute myself over here. All right. Can everybody hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Sorry about that. Hello. Pardon the technical difficulties. But our report begins on page 12. Ms. Kelly alluded earlier that there's a slight shift in the way the agenda was done. GCS, OSBO, you're welcome to do this if you want, but we'll take lead. So starting on page 12 gives you the outline of what I'm going to talk about. We start out talking about our Lucius Road project. We are finally coming to the home stretch on our Lucius Road project. I would say it's 100% complete with the exception of, a little green area around the outside. We have to put up some shrubbery, make it pretty, and we should be having an official ribbon cutting sometime here soon. And we'll keep you guys posted on that. Next up would be where we are with continued construction, where new bus amenities, any shelters, any replacements, any to come. That list is there. I won't go down line by line, but it's there. The next, we talk about our ridership. Go down. Ridership for the reporting month of February 2023 was just over 150,000, which is significantly, well, I would say significantly better than last year at the same time where we're at 117,000. So that is a 25% growth from one year to the next. The next page just gives you a quick snapshot of how we are doing financially. This is the reporting period. Our financials were reported 2 years in arrears. I said 2 years, 2 months in arrears to give us time to make sure we capture all expenses. After that, we give our tracking of our MDBE local spending. Like I said, we make sure we share within the small businesses. Miss Erica, we make sure we do our part of sharing money and making sure we promote the small businesses. And that is the end of my report. And I'm opening the floor for questions. Mr. Epstein, don't let me down. You always have a question. I see your hand.
I wanted to try and follow order here. But yeah, I was happy to see that we are seeing that bounce back in ridership that we were a little bit worried about in November and December around the holidays. Good to see some utilities coming in as well, getting those installed. I was also excited to hear that the Super Stop is nearly complete. I did want to ask, have y'all had any progress on implementing the hydrogen and electric buses that y'all received the grant for?
Yes, so it's a slow but steady process, and we've identified the spot to install the fueling stations for them both. I know the gentleman before asked about partnership with somebody who overtook the hydrogen place downtown. Unfortunately, because of how we got the grant was given to us with the premise of putting up new facilities. So we won't be able to partner with him. So we've identified the spot. The buses will take up to a year to, come in ready for use. Then we have to get them okay, that we're okay with it being delivered. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's a slow but steady process. I think the last I heard, it should be around November, December, when you actually see some foot track with that project.
Great. Have y'all started developing your wraps for those buses? Because we've got to be very loud about having those on the road.
You mean louder than what we already are?
Yeah, those are kind of subtle, I feel like. Maybe we could amp it up a little bit.
Say less. I'll see what we can come up for you.
I appreciate it.
No problem.
Is that Superstation, was that funded by the penny tax? Or was that federal funds?
Federal.
Okay. Any more questions for Ms. Roslyn? Well, thank you, Ms. Roslyn.
No, thank you.
We will speak again next month.
See you next month.
Next up, we have Mr. Maloney. We're gonna change things up a little bit. So rather than going line by line on every project, he's going to be providing updates on any items that have updates or changes to them. Mr. Maloney, the floor is yours.
Thank you, sir, and to all of the TPAC. We've got the updated items highlighted in blue for both pre-construction and construction. So those are the items I'll speak to. Should you have any other questions, feel free to ask. We do have general information regarding the upcoming groundbreaking on Blythewood Road. We should have a press release on that later this week with at least a week's notice or thereabouts of that actually event, but we are working out some of the details on the date and making sure all our participants can be there. The other project, Main Street widening, will have a ribbon cutting coming up a little bit further out. What we're waiting for there is, while it's substantially complete, all the asphalt is now in at the Main Street Monticello Road intersection and the side roads that needed that final lift of asphalt. We are awaiting some weeding and various things for restoration, so final inspections can occur with city staff who were involved in picking and identifying that, the details of that project for design. So that'll be coming up over the next couple of weeks with the contractor. When we get clear of that, we'll schedule a ribbon cutting for that project and final completion. Upcoming council items, we have next Tuesday night, the 28th, we have the use of project reserves for paved road resurfacing for FY 23-24 as an item. When we get back, I will look at our financials with you so we can kind of give a state of those, you know, the penny as far as where we are and where that would be coming from. We also have a upcoming presentation to ad hoc committee with special invitations to any council members who aren't on ad hoc, who happen to have a volume of dirt roads in their area, like District 10, 11, 1, and 2, that have a lot of dirt roads in their area. But we will be looking at having a presentation with Mead and Hunt, who performed work in Horry County on dirt roads and a more proactive type of process for land acquisition related to dirt road paving. And then finally, we have 3 different credit sales for the Wetland Mitigation Bank, and those will be on the agenda for next Tuesday at 4 p.m. For pre-construction updates, Alpine Road sidewalk is awaiting a response from the DPE documentation submitted in February to SCDOT so that we can go to construction. Authorization to proceed. When you see ATP, we need 2 of those. One to proceed with right-of-way acquisition on a project. And when you see we're submitting 60 or 70% plans, as different project managers may call that, another name for it is right-of-way plans. And so once we have the plans approved by DOT at that level, we can proceed with right-of-way acquisition once we receive an ATP for that. And then we continue to work with the plans to getting them to final design. When they're reached that level with DOT, that would be getting an ATP for construction. And so then we can bid the project out. Alpine Road's in the latter, waiting for an ATP for construction. Broad River Road Corridor Neighborhood Improvement Plan, that is at 95% on the preliminary plans and 39% on the right-of-way plans. We did receive comments in November, and we'll be sending a response back to SCDOT. Time involvement there is in working on eliminating right-of-way acquisitions by design, trying to reduce impacts to certain properties that we feel the right-of-way acquisition could impede the business at that location. Crane Creek Greenway, that's one where we're, it's certainly been high water, and we have certainly high ground for the trail, but getting to the trail is impeded where we would be putting bridges in. So we're trying to get to that and get the also the flood study completed on that part of the project. We would be ending the project after crossing the north branch of the Crane Creek south of the Interstate 20 bridge. Decker Woodfield NIP. We've got a couple of different bid packages there. The Brookfield Road Sidewalk Slant Chatsworth Connector. Chatsworth Connector is a piece of land owned by Richland County Rec Commission. And we have to work out some details on long-term maintenance with them. And that's kind of the main thing there as far as that goes. And otherwise, I think that's the critical path on that project. Hunt Club Road is getting to the 90% plans. This past winter did have a public information meeting with the neighborhood, and they were then submitted final plans to the SCDOT for approval. Kelly Mill Road widening. So I'm going to try to present something here. I don't know if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, so that's a map of north and south is hard scrabble. And you can see this was probably a year or so back when this was under construction at that point. But this is what DOT is going to be working on as far as the Kelly Mill hard scrabble intersection. And then as you travel this way, it's a 2-lane road until you get to what I believe here is Lake Carolina Elementary School, where you start to get into this fairly lengthy 3-lane road, and in some cases 3-lane plus a right turn lane. So we would be picking up from this location on back to where DOT leaves off here. And that's a relatively short widening project, but we're working that out with our OET parish and partners on that project. As far as we believe at this time, it'll be a 3-lane widening with some pedestrian accommodations. And so that those specifics will go into their design fee, and we'll finalize that with them. The next project is Pineview widening. Pineview from Shop Road to Garner's Ferry Road. The real estate plans, the 70% plans were submitted for SCDOT review on March 8th. So just recently, we'll be looking for comments from DOT on that. And once we do get their comments, our OET has to install comments, and then we submit the final of the right-of-way to them. And once we get that into them and they see their comments are completed, we'll get an ATP for right-of-way acquisition on that project. Smith Rocky Branch Greenway. The OET and county are planning a PIM on this project. It's kind of a downtown project. Once scheduled, the public will be notified of the time and date. OET did submit the permit request for approval. The two key things here is that we do cross under both CSX and Norfolk Southern Railroad. We did get an agreement for their engineering costs for review by Norfolk Southern, and we're awaiting the CSX agreement. Sunset Drive sidewalk. The DOT did return the construction plans with comments, and we have to address those comments. When we send those back into DOT, that's where we would be obtaining the ATP for construction on Sunset Drive. So that's it for pre-construction. For construction, as I mentioned, we would be looking at a Blythewood Road widening, going to construction here. We did have the pre-construction meeting last week on March 15th. It was a great turnout by all the utilities and the contractors involved. So that project, just wanted to spell it out again. It's from the interchange with 77 to just past Syrup Mill Road. So this is widening to 5-lane with shared use paths. And involved in that, of course, is a roundabout, University Parkway coming in from the north, Community Road coming in from the south, and Blythewood Road having the 4-lane through on that roundabout. As we go back, let's see here. I'll stop that share. As I go back on my 500 megabyte file, it locked up. But it goes to the shared use paths just crossing Syrup Mill. And I did get a call from the middle school and school district 2 facility manager who did ask about that. Our project ends, but it does look nice as far as getting it's like one more block down to Mueller. And if they did want to install any sidewalks and that's something to consider. I understand the development team may be looking into that further, but the Penny project does end where it does. Some of the things that we had to consider included, with the new development happening in that area, is we were building a road, connector road into Locklear off of Community Road. That will no longer be necessary. We do have a briefing document going into council for releasing ourselves from and abandoning Locklear Road, which was a county maintained dirt road. So that will be running through development site and will no longer be needed. So we will no longer with the Penny be needed to create that connection of Locklear going out to Community Road. So we've already informed the contractor of that, and any other minor things that we can do where Community Road may become a 4-lane road rather than a 2-lane road. Our south leg of the roundabout would have some potential for modification to 4 lanes at that connection to it. And in doing that, we've informed our contractor that we'll be moving the detention basin that we have about 40 feet to the west, so that to allow for that. Those are the changes required, a little bit of flexibility for the development happening around our project. So as it said here, we do have clearing and grubbing starting, and other construction and utility relocates happening over the next couple of weeks. And we have a question.
Yeah, Mike, it's Chris Kiefer. So the change in the Locklear Road plans is because of the industrial park work is about going to start?
Yes, it was an existing county maintained dirt road that traveled kind of perpendicular through all that land. And frankly, no one's been able to drive on it for some time since the 2015 flood. Down near the bottom, it had a blown out culvert. We had some disagreement that the same size culvert should go back in between us and the funding source on that. But it's not necessary, a necessary connection. So it's coming out. It would have been going right to the middle of any campus, frankly.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Bull and Elmwood, if there are no further questions on Blythewood Road, Bull and Elmwood intersection's been under construction and about 32% complete. All the clearing is complete. They're working right now on, a couple found storm sewers that weren't as good a shape as we thought. They probably won't make it through construction, so they're near the edge of the road. And there's things that we wanted to make sure are taken care of before we pave. So those are things that we added in, not large, but necessary for the project. There was some notice that we may get additional traffic on each side of the Easter holiday due to the I-77 closures. I don't know if that's true or not, but something DOT wanted to make sure if there's local traffic internal that we wouldn't be doing anything in there to delay traffic by having lane closures at that time. I don't foresee that happening. Garner's Ferry Harmon is one where we were, the project included tunneling under both Garner's Ferry and Harmon intersections for water and the gas line. And so those have been completed, and they're preparing for all the lighting structures that need to go in for the project, and the grading back of the banks. It's on schedule. Univista Phase 2, it's in closeout phase. The final walkthrough and punch list is complete. So we're preparing documentation on all the expenses for Univista 1 and 2 to prepare for Univista 3 for the city, who will be managing that phase. North Main Street, we did mention that in detail. That's substantially complete. Resurfacing package S&T are underway. One of the larger projects on S is Mountie Road down by Tyson Chicken, and that had to be go through a cement admixture into the base to provide support for that roadway, and that has been completed. And then finally, Screaming Eagle Percival Road intersection, we found some poor soils in the area of the new leg of the intersection. That will be the T of Screaming Eagle coming in, and we put in a geogrid material to stabilize that subgrade. And that's what I have for project updates. The same project remain on our upcoming solicitation list. And as you notice, most of those that we talked about are waiting for an ATP for construction. We do have the list of package S&T for those interested in what's coming up there, if it's not already underway, and then the dirt roads we're evaluating. On the finance sheet, page 29 of 29, we do have 52 million, 52.5 million in project reserve. As far as looking at where would we document requesting, say, 5 million a year for continuing the resurfacing program, that's where we would look. On the projects overall, right now, total roadway projects we're showing were about 1,700,000 over on the roadway from referendum. What's changing that number evermore is that last item that has 9.8 million and 6.4 million. And I have to update that now with those new wetland credit sales. So those offsets actually are coming out and reducing that that amount. So right now we're getting close to where we'd be matching the referendum, and ultimately I think that'll be, well, it will be dropping below the referendum. So that's how we're kind of keeping track of that. I didn't want to show that we were not accounting for that. That's something that needed to be accounted for in our numbers. The original 16 million that was put in for the wetland credit sales, and then how we're managing, the sales versus the balance remaining in the program. And then in greenways, we're showing, that's just right on track. Common expenditures, of course, are are as they were. And we do have a program reserve overall, which is another 31.1 million. All in all, we provided a presentation to council in January that indicated, just looking at the projects that are on here as, they're not on here as a kind of an orange color or a green color, meaning they're either complete or not proceeding. But what's remaining, and adding 20% to their budget, and we still had a good reserve remaining in the project. So it's getting to that level of looking at the future that we've got to do if we're going to, say, use additional funds for dirt road paving or some other endeavor that remains in the Penny program. And that's all I have.
So, Mike, am I understanding right that you're looking to reallocate funds from other portions of the program to resurfacing, or you're looking to continue resurfacing with some other source of funds in the future? I just want to make sure I understand what's going to happen.
Right, it's keeping roadway to roadway. So it's keeping the roadway allocation the same, but within that project reserve, utilizing some of that for resurfacing.
Is that something that comes back to us that we're supposed to make a recommendation on, or is that one of the things that y'all can just do?
It's not, and doing it, I mean, I need the council approval of it. I know you guys, it's a recommending authority to the council. So I had three things that we talked to council about. One was the continuation of the very successful recycling program, that is pretty much after S&T will have a U, but we would like to keep that program going. And the others were just a couple of programs where Atlas Road had its section removed from Bluff Road to Shop Road. Broad River Road had a section of the alignment removed from, I guess, Chick-fil-A up to the Peak exit. So there were a couple of projects that lost some alignment or distance in the project. That was a little different than the rescoping or descoping that may have said, hey, we checked this project. It really doesn't need to be 5 lanes this whole way. It could be 3 lanes or whatnot. Or we may just need to improve, say, like on Polo Road, the intersections, because there's not a lot of commerce or whatever along there. So there were things that were studied that did the descoping. We relooked at some of those and said, let's put three things back to that because of the traffic that we're seeing. And the only thing that's outstanding are those 2 projects that had some alignment removed, and then the resurfacing program, which has been, like you say, very successful in getting a lot of work done and has almost completed its funding. So as far as recommendations, yes, I think that I read in your guidelines for the committee to provide those. So it's up to you.
Is that something that we need to put back on the agenda for next meeting, or is it to that point that close, or?
I would like it to, well, I'm going to put it on it's already going to the committee for next week. So, we had always been doing things, i.e. just through the ad hoc committee. So, and I'm not sure, maybe you need a quorum to actually make a recommendation. I don't know, but that's probably part of it. So I'd hate to not have a committee fully present, if we were relying on that, but it's something, I mean, even as we look at the project I started out with, showing you We talk about 3 lanes and we talk about the neighborhood there. We're matching in with what's there, but you know, I think this committee could certainly have something to say about that. You know, that was all part of the element of this formation. So.
Gotcha. Is there any kind of funding that you're aware of that has been requested by the city of Columbia or sought by them for any kind of funding for the renovations or changes to Finley Park?
Not that I'm aware of anything like that. So the 2 things that have happened, say, over the course of my time here would be they requested the full referendum amount for Innovista. So Innovista, you know, perhaps at one time just being a project, and it was broken into phase 1, 2, and 3. So they're requesting funding for that. And then the Three Rivers Greenway, which we're calling Extension 2 with $2.2 million. That is a funding mechanism. I think that also came from, you know, the group putting the phase 2 across. Where's Mike? Mike's with the River Alliance. Was requesting that. So that in partnership with the city will have long-term maintenance of Three Rivers Greenway.
Gotcha. Anybody have any more questions for Mr. Maloney?
Mike,
Come on, John.
it looks like we're going to be landing at about 6 million plus or minus on Innovista Phase 3. Does that sound about right? Just using the numbers in your expended to date.
Oh, yes.
Are there other
close? Yeah.
Okay.
And the city would really, really like us to tell them. But and you're in the profession, so I'm getting bills, you know, from railroad utilities and things, and you know, sometimes they'll come in late. So we've went out and actively asked for those 2 months ago, and hopefully they're coming back in. But we'll watch for any we think that's not there and try to keep something in place for that. But it's in that neighborhood. Yes, 6 million.
Great. Hopefully that'll get them started with some stuff over there.
Yeah.
Anybody
Okay.
have any more questions? Sorry, I don't know if you hear my son in the background, but all right, thank you, Mr. Maloney. Great information as always.
All right. Thank you all.
Our next scheduled meeting is April 17th. We need to decide if we want to try to do the split again, in person and Zoom, or just Zoom. We need a decision kind of quickly, as the room would have to get reserved. And when I talked to Miss Kelly earlier, she said the schedule gets booked up pretty quick. That's what happened last month with, they needed the room that we had reserved, and I think had to go into the IT room or something like that, where John was in there by himself almost. So, you know, it's just kind of what y'all think, if we should try to do the split or just stick with Zoom, or what you think?
John, this is Frank. I think we should offer both options.
I like that idea as well. John?
I agree. I think there's something to be gained from being in the same room to open up conversation a little bit more rather than tripping over Zoom to talk about stuff.
Okay. I'll get with, is Kelly, are you still on, Kelly? If you can hear, if we can go ahead and try to get a room reserved then for next month, hopefully there'll be something available.
No problem. I'll speak with them in the morning.
And as far as membership updates, we still have a bunch of openings. I don't know what we can do to try to encourage people to apply. I guess John, I'll kind of lean on you for some advice on that one. You know, I'm not sure. As far as the city of Columbia goes, I think we have 3 positions and all 3 of our positions are filled.
I think only one of the, or you're one of those folks, you attend. We have another person, Mr. Parker, who was appointed in 21. His term is valid through 2026. But I don't know that he's ever attended a meeting. I'd have to go back in my notes here and see if I don't think I've ever seen him on a call in my notes. So
and I know right now the city's not doing it. They haven't done any appointments for months. They're trying to revamp their process, and it's, yeah, just kind of in la la land.
That's right. So we do have one open city appointment from Mr. Mashburn's vacated spot that would be appropriate to appoint if we had an applicant, but I don't know that we've got an applicant. And as you mentioned, the city hasn't done any appointments right now anyway. And then from the county, we do have 2 open positions on the committee that we can fill that are vacant right now.
Gotcha.
Again, need applicants to fill those, and I don't know that rules and appointments has actually met this year or not.
Well, hopefully, for the county aspect, there's a few applicants that may fall into some of these other jurisdictions that we couldn't maybe divert to some representation to some of these other places, but wishful thinking, I know.
And I take it back, they are meeting right now. Looking at their agenda for tomorrow, actually, but nothing for Transportation Penny on there, and that may be because there are no applications to consider. But hopefully they're aware. Is that something county staff can help us reach out to roles and appointments? Just to note that we have 2 vacancies to be filled on the committee.
Sure, you can reach out to me.
Thank you, Kelly.
Another thing I wanted to find out, and I'm not sure if this would go to county staff or maybe John, you know, but the state of the penny address that's supposed to be done annually. Do we know anything about that?
That's definitely one of those annual things that I think we've gotten away from and should probably revisit. It'd be worth checking to make sure that's if it's in the referendum, and if so, probably need to hold some kind of public meeting to do that. I'd say that, you know, these meetings probably serve to address that to some degree, but if it needs to be more formal, then we need to do it. But it's not something that I've seen a lot of precedent for to this point.
Gotcha.
Similar situation with an audit, I think that's supposed to be done once a year. I'm sure there's good accounting practices being undertaken and that sort of thing, but I think there's supposed to be some kind of more formal audit that I've never seen completed.
Gotcha. I'm going to actually attend the ad hoc committee next week. I got that on my schedule, so and I guess Overture Walker is now our liaison. Is that correct, Miss Kelly?
For ad hoc?
Yeah, he's the chair of the ad hoc.
Okay. So yeah, I'll reach out to him and kind of just have a conversation with him about some of this as well. and then get back with y'all and let you know how that goes. But all right, well, does anybody have anything else?
Hey, John, again, this is Frank. Back in the day, I guess before COVID, sometimes the representative actually attend our meetings with us. I guess with COVID, that hasn't happened in a while, but we can start doing that again, have them attend. They have input. We can also have great information from them as well, find out what's going on with the county also.
That's a good idea. When I talk to Mr. Walker next week, I'll see about getting him, see if we can't get him to start attending or designate someone to. I think that'd be a good idea as we kind of move forward anyway. All right, anybody have anything else? Questions, comments?
Hi, John. This is Chelsea Bennett, Deputy Director of Communications for Richland County. I'd be happy to connect with you on the State of the Penny address or having council representation at these meetings.
Okay.
And I can shoot you an email or give you my contact information or have Kelly connect us via email so that we can have a conversation.
Okay, because I know there was something in the city's guidelines for this where the city's supposed to get an annual report too, and I don't know if that's tied in with the State of the Penny or if it's something they got to do separate or whatnot. But
Okay.
But yeah, we'll definitely connect.
Okay. Kelly, if you could assist with facilitating that connection, I greatly appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. I'll shoot you both an email in just a few minutes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, since we're not technically in session, I'll still call it adjourned at 4:49. See y'all next month.
Thank you, sir.